Hello you lovely people, welcome back to the channel again. And you can hear the thunder probably. I hope we get some rain, I hope. Saves me watering these plants out there every day. But the conversation today is about failure. And how, surprisingly enough, I'm going to take a seat here and just look at the view of the orchard. And how people would like to see you fail. How, especially narcissistic people and jealous people, would like to see you fail. And not just of the Philippines, but in a lot of things that you do. But we'll talk about the Philippines because that's where I am, and it's the things I've observed in the time that I've been here. And one instance I'm going to talk about is, when I was building my house here, and it was a slow process, people, because I didn't have the funds to do it all in one go because of the first episode of coming here and losing a lot of money. So I was on a really tight budget, and there was a guy he was a foreigner and used to come around quite regular with his Filipino wife. And he was okay to a degree, but I never really took to him properly. But he didn't live very far away from here. And he used to come round and see me. And, like, the way his eyes would roll around the house like this, because we were living in the house and we had plywood for the windows. We had plywood for doors. And only part of the roof was done. So we were only sleeping in a certain part of the house where it was dry, okay? We had concrete on the floor, so there was a base on the floor, but that was it. We didn't really have a kitchen as such. We had a toilet, but that was about it. It was very, very basic living. And I could see by him coming round, and he said to me a few times, he said, "How can you live like this?" He said, and I said, "But look," and I won't mention no names, I'd say, "It's not forever. It's not forever. This is just me doing what I can when I can." And the things that he used to say, and they were never good things, people. They weren't. There was always kind of dragging me down because he had a lot of money and he was able to build his house in one go. Okay, now I could have done that if I didn't mess up the first time, but I did mess up the first time. So San Ferian, it just happened. He's one of them things. But I wasn't going to let things beat me. And that's what I'm trying to say. No matter how much people want you, and it's not just people who you know, it's also some YouTubers, some people who's got channels. They, not all, but some, and you can tell by the way they talk, some would like a lot of other people to fail. And it's terrible. Even if I didn't like somebody, I would still wish them the best. I wouldn't wish any bad to, especially when someone's trying. And I've always been a trier all my life. I've always been a trier, and God loves a trier. So my hands are never idle, and idle hands makes easy work for the devil, doesn't it? So it doesn't matter how many times I've been kicked down in my life, I've always got myself up. I will never, ever, as long as I've got breath in my body and I'm able, I will never, ever let anything beat me. Never. And it doesn't matter what people say about me. I don't care, because I'm better than that. And I am a trier. And that's why I think I've got what I've got now. Because a lot of people, when they got ripped off like I did, and the girl's husband was in on it as well, of all the things in the world, he was in on the scam when they scammed me. He was in on it. Many people would have given up. I know they would have done. I know they would have done. And at that time I used to, I wouldn't say hang out with foreigners, but I used to go into that place, that Chinese cuisine it was called at the time. I used to pop in there periodically, and yeah, because I told them what happened, they were like, I knew they were sniggering behind my back and probably saying, oh, you know, there's that you know, the British guy who's been ripped off by the girl who he's with, and you know, the husband, you know, was in on the scam. I knew they were saying things like that, but like I said, I wasn't going to let that beat me. And look, people, if I can pick myself up here in the Philippines after losing everything the first time and not going back home, you know, to replenish funds or anything like that, but just to pick myself up here and got as far as I've got, and I haven't got a lot, but you know, we've got a house. You know, I've worked all my life for everything that I've had and got. I've never been given anything in my life. I've never been given you know, like anything. I've had to work for things all my life, and I think that's what's made me a trier. And like I said, I will never give up. I will never give up. And you guys, if you've got the same situation, don't give up, because if you give up, then you're beat. You are beat, and then you'll never know what you could have been or what you could have had. Continue, even if you can't get to the goal that you want to get to. Don't let anything beat you. Don't let people put you down. Like I said, this house and this land that we have now, I never dreamed I would have land like this. I didn't. But I worked. I was teaching online. I was doing many hours because I knew there was a means to what I was doing. Because I've got no pension yet, people. And a lot of you know, I haven't got a pension. I don't get a pension for another 8 years. And then when I do get that pension, it's brilliant because I've managed to do things without it. Through hard work. You know, I've never had things thrown at me, where a lot of people have. And fair play to them. I've got no animosity to that whatsoever. I think good luck. And people who's on big pensions, good luck. I really, really admire that, because the people who are jealous of people with big pensions is only because they haven't got one or a big pension. The way I see it is excellent, because if I had a big pension, I would be feeling the same as people with a big pension. I would be happy as well. And you know, people who's managed to save a lot of money in their lives, great, really. And again, I admire that. Me, I've always been a spender. I have, people, honestly. You know, when I was earning, and I did for a period of, I don't know how many years, it was a good few years, probably 10 years, 12 years or something. I was earning a lot of money. I was earning a lot of money. Money I couldn't spend. But what I did, I took friends out, I took friends on holiday, I bought nice cars, I had all nice things in my house. And of course, nothing good lasts forever. And the money ran out. And the way I was earning money, which was online at the time, doing sporting events, it stopped because all of these other online streaming platforms come and took over, and I was just a single man, you know, doing what I was doing, and I couldn't compete. So it knocked me out the water. But I've got no regrets at all. You know, I've got no regrets of not saving any money at that time, because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, and I didn't let it get me down. I just, you know, went back to work, and I worked hard, and I managed to live a life where I had money again, but not easy money. It was hard money. But you know, when I was earning good money, it was easy money. And all the time you work for somebody else, you will only ever have that salary that they are going to give you. So you are only worth what they give you. You'll never be rich working for somebody else. That's true. But the way that I see things is just enough. Just enough. I'm not a greedy man. I've never been a greedy man. As my father said to me many years ago, when I was having a pint with him in a bar, and I used to buy people drinks, and that's when I had a lot of money. And my dad said to me, son, he said, you'll never be rich. And I said, well, why is that, Dad? He says, because you're too generous. And it's true. But hey, all of those friends that I did have, when the money ran out, so did they. And they say that about Filipinos. Well, I don't think that's true. You know, people say, you got lots of money, you have lots of friends. Well, here, I haven't got a lot of money, and I've still got my Filipino friends. So, you know, but I think the moral of this story is, no matter how down you are, and you could be sat at home in your home country thinking, I want to get out, I want to do something, but what if I fail? So what if you do fail? At least you've tried. At least you've had the guts and the balls to try it. One of the worst feelings to ever have is having a regret that you didn't try. I could have failed here. There were several times, people, that I was that close. I was that close, really. And I think it was only because I got with Mira, and it gave me that. I mean, I had that push in me anyway, but you know, when I got with Mira and she fell pregnant with Kaylin, it gave me the push. It gave me an extra push to think, right, that's it, Stephen, dig your heels in, work like crazy. And at the time I was teaching, still am, and I was working long hours, people. I was working like 14 hours a day to earn that money, just so there would be something for Kaylin when he was born. You know, we could afford to buy this and afford to buy that and still continue building this house. And people, there were times at the end of the month we were just scraping by. We was at that particular time, because all of the extra money, or not extra money, but all the money that we had, it was going into the house. And there was a couple of times Kaylin got sick and we had to take him to the hospitals, and we had to pay doctor's fees and medication. I think, oh God, you know. And I think many people would have given up, but I didn't. And I never will. I will never give up. Like, there used to be I think he's gone now, because I haven't seen him in Dipolog for a long time, but there was a homeless guy in Dipolog. And I think he was German or Austrian, maybe Swiss. But he was homeless, and he was sat outside of this shanty place, which was a fisherman village at the time. He was sat outside of this shop, and he was a dirty old pair of shorts, no top on. And I went to talk to him, you know, and you could see he was a proud person, because he wouldn't want to, you know, he spoke English, but I said to him, you know, you okay and things like that, and yeah, and I knew he wasn't, but he was a proud man. He'd just fallen on bad times, and he'd ended up on the streets. Now, I haven't seen him for a long time, so I don't know whatever happened to him. But it can happen to the best of us. So, you know, before we start knocking other people as well, you know, of their misfortunes, you know, think of how lucky that some of us are. And although that I've struggled, I'm still lucky. I'm a lucky man. And most of us are lucky who are here in the Philippines. Yes, you know, many of us get scammed, many of us lose money, but we're still lucky because we are here. We might be unlucky because we've been scammed, but hey, most of that is our fault, isn't it? You know, we just fall into it. And, you know, I didn't do any research before I come to the Philippines, and, you know, I didn't know about these scammers that happen. But my goodness, you know, we're in a developing country. There are many opportunists in every country, but I think more so here at the time. Yeah, I don't know if it still goes on, probably does, of course it does. But never give up, people, never give up. Because, like I said, one of the biggest regrets we can have is thinking, well, if I did try, I might have made it, but I didn't. And that's why I will never give up, people. It doesn't matter how down I get. Oh, my knees. my knees. It's because I've been watering these plants every day. These take over 150 gallons of water, these trees. And that's why I'm praying for rain. And it might save my knees today. So, I mean, this, you've got all this now. All of this. Through blood, sweat and tears. And we aren't wealthy. We scratch. We do. And I don't mind telling people about that. But we don't go without. You know, there's always food on the table. The bills are always paid. And we have a nice, simple life here. And we've got 2 wonderful sons. We've got 2 fit and healthy, wonderful sons. We've got a roof on our head. You know, we've got a refrigerator with food in it. There's a million and more people who are worse off than someone like me. And that's why I never complain. I never complain. Life is life. Life is a challenge. Life is challenging. It depends how you tackle the challenge. It depends if you want to give in or you want to grab that challenge and accept it and beat it. That's it, people. That's just my little story of today. But listen, don't let people drag you down, no matter who they are, because you're better than that. You're better than that. Is it going to rain today? Is it going to rain? Pray for rain for me. Pray for rain for me. Listen, people, God bless you all, and take good care. And, you know, no matter what you're doing, try and do it well. Over and out. Till next time. Bye-bye, folks.